There's something that's going round that's shutting our borders down. It's a bad time for our sick and our old.
There's something that's going around that's shutting our borders down. Indeed, the words of Canadian duty-free executive and singer-songwriter Jeff Orson lead us into today's episode of In Crisis, Travel Retail Voices, our new podcast series in which we speak to travel retail executives all around the world to see how they and their businesses are coping with the COVID-19 crisis. I'm Martin Moody. And today's episode features Doug Bagley, president of the Asia-Pacific region at independent drinks company William Grant & Sons. As part of his remit, Doug also oversees the Glenfiddich to Hendricks firm's global travel retail business, headed by Managing Director Ed Cottrell. Few people in our industry know quite as much about the travel retail and drink sectors as Doug. He was Managing Director of Diageo Global Travel and Middle East from October 2013 until late 2016, and before that, he held several leadership roles within Diageo, including Chief Commercial Officer, Asia Pacific, and Commercial Director of Australia and New Zealand. Here's what he had to tell me when we spoke at the weekend. So, Doug, there's over 800 cases in Singapore, but Singapore is considered certainly one of the countries to have managed the COVID-19 crisis the best. What's the feeling, what's the mood on the streets and among the people in Singapore?
Look, I think, Martin, it's a radically changing environment, and sort of by the time you get to over 48 hours old, a lot of the updates you've been looking at are very much redundant. But look, I think there's a lot of confidence from the Singaporeans in the way in which the government's managing the situation. You certainly feel that. As everyone knows, Singapore, they're very thorough in the measures that they've put in place. Now, without any question of a doubt, like most environments at the moment, we are very much self-isolating at the moment, working from home. There's not a lot of people on the streets in terms of particularly the shopping malls, so people are staying away and people are following what the governments are recommending. But as I said, I think there's a lot of confidence, and that confidence is building in terms of the government and the control of what's happening at the moment. So I think it's certainly heading in the right direction. All
right, and what's your daily life is spent at home? You're running a region. You're doing all that from your desktop.
Yeah, I am actually. I sort of laugh as I'm saying it because I've actually never spent so much time in my house in my life.
Huh.
And, when you and I were talking earlier on, I'm probably busier than I've ever been. I'm certainly working a lot longer hours because we're having a lot of interaction with what's happening around our markets around the world and giving a lot of, from a broad perspective in terms of what's happening, particularly with the safety of our employees. So a lot of sort of extended hours, a lot of conference calls, and it's just a hell of a lot of work, just trying to get your arms around what's happening. And as I said before, what makes it so difficult is just that it's changing so quickly and it's so different everywhere.
And Doug, your remit covers obviously domestic markets, but also you oversee travel retail. I'm sure travel retail, as we all know, is particularly difficult and grim out there, but I guess you're looking beyond the short term and looking for a travel bounce back, which is most likely to happen intra-Asia before anywhere else. Is that your reading?
Yeah, look, definitely. Look, the first thing I'd say is just enormously how upset I am with what's happened with particularly the travel retail industry. A lot of friends, a lot of colleagues, and a lot of great businesses and great brands are really stretched incredibly at the moment. So, yeah, it's really sad what's happened. But look, we do very much look towards this will pass. We will get over this. And as an industry and as a channel, I'm confident that we'll recover. The question is, I don't know when. I hope it happens soon. And as a business, we're always focused on the long term. So we don't intend to change our strategic focus moving forward. It's just a question of when we can get back to some sort of normality. Yeah.
And William Grant, of course, a family firm through multiple generations, has traded through many crises, world wars, in fact. Has there been anything quite like this, Doug, do you think?
Well, I had that exact conversation with our chairman, part of the family business, and he said no. This is completely such an event. So, as you said, we've been through wars, they've been through prohibition, they've been through all sorts of things, but we've never had something of this scale, of this magnitude, and this level of complexity. And even with the board meetings that we've been having, just how complex the series of impacts that it's had, whether it be through supply chain or obviously through our own individual staff or general operations or other suppliers that we rely on as well. I don't think anyone anywhere hasn't been impacted by what's going on at the moment.
No, it's an extraordinary, and if you layer on to that list things like currency, you've just got a world in complete flux at the moment, complete uncertainty, and of course a great deal of alarm and fear on a personal level.
Yeah, and that's where we've just been spending an enormous amount of our time, really just to ensure that our employees are safe and well, and most importantly, they've got security of employment. And that's where we've been spending an enormous amount of hours to prepare the business for the uncertainty in terms of the way in which we're operating now, and for hopefully the very short future ahead in terms of that uncertainty that we sit within the situation at the moment. But again, our time is really very much to ensure that we secure the business for the benefit of the employees, as long as we physically possibly can.
And just to close, Doug, I mean, you're locked down in Singapore currently with your wife Inga. What about your family? Where are they?
Yeah, well, not ideal, because my children are in the UK and I can't get there and they can't get here. So, another very awful feeling, actually. It's, not too many parents have a situation where they can't get to their children, and this is certainly one of them. So we keep having video conferences with the children. It's interesting. So we're talking to them every day and seeing them every day, but obviously all through video conferencing, which is a bit unusual. But they're well, they're safe, and hopefully they're inside our apartment, not going anywhere.
Wow, that's good to hear. Well, Doug, it's nice to hear your dulcet Aussie tones and to know that you're safe and well. You keep looking after yourself.
Yeah, good on you, Martin. All the best to you as well, and talk soon.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.
And I swear one day we're gonna put this out behind us, and come what may, we will survive. I think it's safe to say that better times are gonna find us. Hope it won't be long till this trouble is gone.